Emma Carter stared at her phone screen, reading the text message for the 5th time. Her hands trembled slightly as the words burned into her mind. Emma, I can't do this anymore. We're too different. Don't contact me. Michael. 3 days before her sister's wedding. 3 days before she would have to face her entire family, all of whom had been asking about Michael for months. 3 days before the most important social event of the year, and now she would be going alone. Emma set her phone down on her mahogany desk and looked out the floor-to-ceiling windows of her corner office on the 30th floor. The city sprawled below her, tiny cars moving like ants through the streets. She had built her software company from nothing, becoming one of the youngest billionaires in the country. She could buy anything she wanted, go anywhere she pleased, but she couldn't buy back the relationship that had just crumbled. A soft knock on her door interrupted her thoughts. Come in, she called, not turning from the window. Ms. Carter, I'm sorry to bother you. The voice was gentle, respectful. Emma turned to see Tom, one of the night janitors, standing in her doorway with his cleaning cart. He was a man in his early 30s with kind brown eyes and work-worn hands. His uniform was always clean and pressed, despite the modest work he did. It's fine, Tom. Come in. Emma had always noticed Tom because he was different from the other cleaning staff. He was polite, well-spoken, and had a quiet dignity about him. He often worked late into the night, long after everyone else had gone home. I just wanted to let you know I'll be cleaning the conference room tonight. I saw your light was still on and wanted to make sure I wouldn't disturb any important meetings. Tom pushed his cart further into the room, beginning to empty the trash bins. Emma watched him work efficiently, his movements careful and practiced. An idea began to form in her mind. It was crazy, desperate even, but it might just work. Tom, can I ask you something? Emma said, walking back to her desk. Of course, Miss Carter. He paused in his work, giving her his full attention. Are you married? The question came out more abruptly than she intended. Tom's face grew sad for a moment. I'm a widower, Miss Carter. My wife passed away 3 years ago. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Emma felt a pang of guilt for her directness. Do you have children? Yes, a daughter. Amy is 8 years old. Tom's face brightened when he mentioned his daughter. She's the light of my life. Emma nodded, her mind racing. Tom, this might sound strange, but I have a proposition for you. Tom straightened up, his expression curious but cautious. What kind of proposition? I need a date for my sister's wedding this Saturday. It's a very formal event, very high profile. My boyfriend just broke up with me, and I can't show up alone. Emma took a deep breath. I'm willing to pay you $5,000 to pretend to be my boyfriend for one evening. Tom's eyes widened. He set down the trash bag he was holding and stared at her. Ms. Carter, I don't think I understand. You would just need to accompany me to the wedding, maybe dance a few times, make small talk. Nothing inappropriate, just help me save face in front of my family. Emma's voice was steady, but inside she felt embarrassed by her desperation. $5,000, Tom repeated slowly. I know it's a lot to ask. You'd need to wear a tuxedo, which I'd provide. The wedding is at the Grand Palace Hotel downtown. It starts at 6 p.m. and would probably end around midnight. Tom was quiet for a long moment, processing what she had said. Emma could see him thinking, weighing something in his mind. Ms. Carter, can I ask why you chose me? Surely you have friends who could help you. Emma considered lying, giving him some polite excuse, but something about Tom's honest demeanor made her want to be truthful. Because you're kind. I've watched you work here for 2 years. You treat everyone with respect, from the executives to the security guards. You're genuine, and I think my family would like you. Tom looked down at his hands, then back up at Emma. The money would help a lot. Amy has some medical expenses that insurance doesn't fully cover. What kind of medical issues? Emma asked, her business instincts kicking in. She has asthma, pretty severe. The medications are expensive, and she needs regular specialist visits. Tom's voice carried the weight of worry that every parent knows. I work extra shifts to try to cover everything, but it's still tight. Emma felt something shift in her chest, a warmth she hadn't expected. This wasn't just about her anymore. Tom, would you be comfortable doing this? I don't want you to feel pressured. Can I think about it tonight? Give you an answer tomorrow? Of course. Take all the time you need. After Tom left, Emma sat alone in her office, wondering what she had just done. She had never paid someone to be her date before. It felt wrong, manipulative, but she was desperate. The thought of facing her family's questions and pitying looks was unbearable. The next evening, Tom returned to her office with his answer. I'll do it, Miss Carter. But I have some conditions. What kind of conditions? First, I want to be honest with Amy. I'll tell her I'm helping a friend with a work event. Second, if at any point during the evening you're uncomfortable or want me to leave, I will. No questions asked. Emma felt a wave of respect for this man. Even in his need, he was maintaining his principles. Those conditions are fine. Actually, they make me feel better about this whole arrangement. Over the next 3 days, Emma helped Tom prepare for the wedding. She took him to her personal tailor, a distinguished older man who worked magic with fabric and measurements. The young man has excellent posture, the tailor observed as he fitted Tom for a black tuxedo. Good shoulders, carries himself well. Emma watched Tom look at himself in the three-way mirror, adjusting his tie with careful precision. In the expensive tuxedo, he looked like he belonged in her world, but she could see the uncertainty in his eyes. You look perfect, she told him, and meant it. I feel like I'm wearing a costume, Tom admitted. What if I say the wrong thing? What if people can tell I don't belong? Just be yourself. That's why I asked you. Emma studied his reflection. Tom, can I ask you something? What did you do before working at the cleaning company? Tom hesitated. I went to business school actually. Had plans for my own company someday. But then Sarah got sick, and after she died, I just needed steady work to take care of Amy. The cleaning job has good hours and decent pay. Emma felt another piece of the puzzle click into place. Tom wasn't just kind and hard-working, he was intelligent and educated. She began to wonder what other assumptions she had made about him. On Friday evening, Emma picked up Tom from his apartment. She had expected something run down, but his building was modest and well-maintained. Tom met her in the lobby wearing jeans and a clean button-down shirt, carrying the garment bag with his tuxedo. Amy wanted to meet you, Tom said as they walked to Emma's car. She's curious about the lady her daddy is helping. Emma stopped walking. She's here. Just for a minute. Mrs. Rodriguez from downstairs is watching her tonight, but Amy insisted. Tom smiled apologetically. She can be pretty determined when she wants something. They rode the elevator to the 3rd floor, and Tom opened the door to his apartment. It was small but immaculately clean, filled with Amy's artwork and photos. A little girl with dark curls and her father's brown eyes ran up to them. You must be Ms. Emma. Amy said with a big smile. Daddy says you're very important and very nice. Emma knelt down to Amy's level. It's wonderful to meet you, Amy. Your daddy talks about you all the time. He does. Amy looked up at her father with delight. Daddy, you never told me you talked about me at work. Tom's face reddened slightly. Well, you're pretty amazing, kiddo. Hard not to talk about amazing people. Emma watched the interaction between father and daughter, seeing the pure love and devotion in Tom's eyes. This was what mattered to him, this little girl who was fighting health problems and counting on him for everything. Ms. Emma, are you nervous about your party? Amy asked with the directness only children possess. A little bit, Emma admitted. It's been a while since I've been to a big party. Daddy gets nervous sometimes too, but he says being brave isn't about not being scared. It's about doing the right thing even when you are scared. Emma looked up at Tom, who was watching his daughter with pride and embarrassment. Your daddy is very wise. As they prepared to leave, Amy hugged her father tightly. Have fun at the party, Daddy. And take care of Ms. Emma. She seems really nice. In the car driving away, Emma was quiet for several blocks. Finally, Tom broke the silence. I'm sorry if that was awkward. Amy doesn't get to meet many of my work friends. It wasn't awkward at all. She's wonderful, Tom. You're raising an incredible little girl. I'm trying. Some days I feel like I'm failing her. Emma looked over at Tom, seeing the vulnerability he usually kept hidden. From what I saw tonight, you're doing everything right. As they drove toward the hotel where they would spend the evening pretending to be something they weren't, Emma realized that maybe the most real thing about tomorrow would be the growing respect and connection she felt with this man beside her. The wedding was less than 24 hours away, and Emma had no idea how much her world was about to change. Saturday morning arrived gray and drizzly, matching Emma's nervous energy. She spent hours getting ready, changing outfits 3 times before settling on an elegant navy blue dress that was formal but not too flashy. She didn't want to overshadow her sister Lisa on her wedding day. At exactly 4:30, Emma pulled up to Tom's apartment building. He was waiting in the lobby, and when he stepped outside, Emma's breath caught in her throat. The tuxedo transformed him completely. He looked sophisticated, confident, like he belonged in her world of luxury and privilege. You clean up pretty well, Emma said as Tom settled into the passenger seat of her silver BMW. I feel like I'm playing dress up, Tom replied, adjusting his bow tie nervously. Are you sure about this, Miss Carter? It's not too late to change your mind. Please, call me Emma. And yes, I'm sure. She pulled away from the curb, heading toward downtown. Tell me about your daughter's day. What is Amy doing while we're at this wedding? Tom's face brightened immediately. She's having a sleepover with Mrs. Rodriguez's granddaughter. They're making cookies and watching princess movies. She was more excited about the sleepover than worried about me being gone. Emma smiled, noticing how Tom's whole demeanor changed when he talked about Amy. She seems like a very mature 8-year-old. She had to grow up fast after her mother died, Tom said quietly. Sarah was sick for almost a year before she passed. Amy learned to be independent early. I'm sorry. That must have been incredibly difficult for both of you. Sarah was the strongest person I ever knew. She made me promise to always put Amy first, no matter what. Tom looked out the window at the city passing by. That's why I work so much. I want Amy to have opportunities, to go to college, to have choices I didn't have. Emma felt a strange tightness in her chest. Here was a man who had lost everything but still fought every day to build a better life for his daughter. It made her own problems seem small by comparison. The Grand Palace Hotel was magnificent, with marble columns and crystal chandeliers that sparkled in the early evening light. Valets in crisp uniforms opened car doors, and elegantly dressed guests streamed through the massive front entrance. Wow, Tom whispered as they walked through the lobby. This place must cost more per night than I make in a month. Don't think about the money, Emma said, taking his arm. Just focus on enjoying yourself. The wedding ceremony was held in the hotel's grand ballroom, decorated with thousands of white roses and soft candlelight. Emma and Tom took their seats in the 3rd row, behind Emma's parents and extended family. Emma noticed her mother glancing back at them with curiosity and approval. As they waited for the ceremony to begin, Emma's cousin Jennifer leaned over from the row behind them. Emma, you didn't tell us you were bringing someone, Jennifer said with obvious interest. Aren't you going to introduce us? Jennifer, this is Tom. Tom, my cousin Jennifer. Emma kept her voice casual, but she felt Tom tense beside her. Nice to meet you, Jennifer, Tom said politely. What do you do for work, Tom? Jennifer's question was friendly but probing. I'm in the cleaning business, Tom answered simply. Jennifer nodded with a slightly confused expression, clearly expecting more details, but the music began and the ceremony started before she could ask follow-up questions. Emma watched her sister Lisa walk down the aisle in a stunning white gown, radiant with happiness. The groom, Daniel, was a successful investment banker who had been dating Lisa for 3 years. He was handsome, wealthy, and completely devoted to Emma's sister. During the ceremony, Emma found herself glancing at Tom. He watched the proceedings with genuine interest and emotion, especially when the couple exchanged personal vows. When Lisa promised to stand by Daniel through all of life's challenges, Tom's eyes grew misty. Beautiful ceremony, Tom whispered to Emma as the couple was pronounced husband and wife. After the ceremony, guests moved to the reception hall for cocktails and dinner. Emma introduced Tom to various family members and friends, all of whom were polite but clearly curious about this man they had never heard of before. Emma's Aunt Margaret was less subtle than the others. Tom, dear, how did you and Emma meet? She asked while they stood near the bar. We met through work, Tom replied, which was technically true. Oh, are you in technology too? Emma's company is so impressive. Emma watched Tom struggle with how to answer. Not exactly. I work in building services. Margaret looked puzzled. Building services? Like construction? More like maintenance, Tom said, his cheeks reddening slightly. Emma jumped in quickly. Tom manages several important contracts in the city. He's very successful. Margaret nodded and moved on to easier conversation, but Emma noticed how Tom had retreated into himself after the interaction. She felt a surge of protective anger toward her aunt's obvious judgment. During dinner, Emma sat between Tom and her brother-in-law's best man, a lawyer named Richard who spent most of the meal talking loudly about his expensive vacation to Europe. Emma noticed Tom eating quietly, observing the room with intelligent eyes but contributing little to the conversation. You're being very quiet, Emma said to Tom during a lull in Richard's monologue. Just taking it all in, Tom replied. This is a different world from what I'm used to. Different doesn't mean better, Emma said, surprising herself with the firmness in her voice. After dinner, the dancing began. Emma and Tom moved onto the dance floor for a slow song, and Emma was surprised by how naturally Tom led. He was graceful and confident, holding her at just the right distance. You're a good dancer, Emma said as they swayed to the music. Sarah loved to dance. We took lessons together when we were first married. Tom's voice was soft with memory. She said every man should know how to make his woman feel like a princess on the dance floor. Emma felt something flutter in her chest at his words. She was beginning to see that everything Tom did was thoughtful and deliberate. He wasn't just going through the motions of this fake relationship, he was treating her with genuine care and respect. As the song ended, Emma's father approached them. Emma, sweetheart, you've been hiding this young man all evening. I'd like to get to know him better. Emma felt Tom tense again, but her father was warm and welcoming. Tom, isn't it? What do you think of our family's celebration? It's beautiful, Mr. Parker. Lisa and Daniel seem very happy together. They are indeed. Emma tells me you're in business for yourself. Tom hesitated for just a moment. Yes, sir. I run a service company in the city. Good for you. Nothing beats being your own boss. Emma's father clapped Tom on the shoulder. I started my law practice from nothing 40 years ago. Hard work pays off if you stick with it. Emma watched Tom's face during this conversation, seeing how he responded to her father's genuine respect and encouragement. For the first time that evening, Tom seemed to relax slightly. The evening continued with more dancing, more conversations, and more curious glances from Emma's family. Emma found herself genuinely enjoying Tom's company. He was intelligent, thoughtful, and had a dry sense of humor that emerged when he felt comfortable. Around 10 o'clock, as Emma was returning from the ladies' room, she overheard her cousin Jennifer talking to another relative near the bar. "I just don't understand what Emma sees in him," Jennifer was saying. "I mean, he seems nice enough, but he's a janitor or something. It's so unlike Emma to date someone so beneath her level." "Maybe she's going through some kind of phase," the other woman replied. "You know how successful women sometimes feel like they need to date down to feel better about themselves." Emma felt anger rise in her chest like a flame. She was about to march over and confront them when a hand touched her shoulder. "Excuse me, ladies." The voice belonged to Daniel, the groom. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but I need to speak with Emma for a moment." Daniel led Emma away from the gossips, but instead of stopping to talk with her, he continued walking across the room toward Tom, who was standing alone near the windows, looking out at the city lights. "There you are," Daniel said as he approached Tom. Emma followed, confused by Daniel's urgent tone. Tom turned, and his face went pale when he saw the groom approaching. "Mr. Harrison," Daniel said formally, extending his hand to Tom. "I want to thank you personally for allowing me the time off for my honeymoon. I know it's a busy season for the company." Emma stopped walking, her mind trying to process what she had just heard. "Mr. Harrison? Time off?" "It's no problem, Daniel," Tom replied quietly, shaking the groom's hand. "You've been a good employee for 3 years. You deserve this time with your new wife." "I really appreciate it, boss. The whole crew knows how much you sacrifice to keep the business running." Daniel's respect for Tom was obvious and genuine. Emma stared at the two men, her understanding of the entire evening shifting like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. "Boss." Daniel had called Tom boss. "Daniel," Emma said slowly, "how exactly do you know Tom?" "Tom owns Harrison Cleaning Services, the company I work for," Daniel explained with obvious pride. "He's the best boss I've ever had. Always fair, always puts his employees first. When I needed time off for the engagement and wedding planning, Tom personally covered my shifts rather than dock my pay." Emma looked at Tom, who was staring at the floor with embarrassment. "You own a cleaning company?" "Several, actually," Daniel continued, not noticing the tension. "Harrison Services has contracts all over the city. Mr. Harrison built it from nothing after his wife passed away. He's kind of a legend among us workers." The room seemed to spin around Emma as she realized the magnitude of her assumptions. Tom wasn't just a janitor working night shifts to make ends meet. He was a successful business owner who had been personally cleaning her office building because he cared about his clients and employees. "I should get back to Lisa," Daniel said, still oblivious to the revelation he had just delivered. "Thank you again, Mr. Harrison. Enjoy the rest of the party." After Daniel left, Emma and Tom stood in awkward silence. The elegant reception continued around them, but Emma felt like they were suddenly alone in a bubble of truth and embarrassment. "Tom," Emma said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. "I know what you're thinking," Tom said, still not meeting her eyes. "I should have told you. You own the company. You're not just an employee." Emma's mind was racing. "Why didn't you tell me?" Tom finally looked up at her, and she saw a mixture of pride and shame in his eyes. "Because it doesn't matter. I still clean offices at night. I still scrub floors and empty trash cans. I'm still the man you thought wasn't good enough for your sister's wedding." Emma felt the weight of her own prejudices crashing down on her. She had seen what she expected to see, not who Tom really was. And worse, she had made him feel like he needed to hide his success to be acceptable to her. The evening that had started as a charade was becoming something much more complicated, much more real, and much more revealing than either of them had expected. The silence between Emma and Tom stretched on as the wedding reception continued around them. Couples danced to soft music while waiters cleared dinner plates and served coffee. The celebration felt distant to Emma, like she was watching it through glass. "We should talk," Emma said finally, her voice quiet but steady. Tom nodded, straightening his shoulders. There's a balcony through those doors. It might be quieter. They walked outside onto a stone balcony overlooking the city. The cool night air was a relief after the warmth of the crowded ballroom. Emma leaned against the railing, trying to organize her thoughts. "How many companies do you own?" she asked, not looking at Tom. 12 cleaning service contracts around the city," Tom answered honestly. 3 office buildings, 4 hotels, 2 hospitals, and 3 apartment complexes. Plus some smaller accounts. Emma turned to face him. "That's not exactly struggling to make ends meet." "I never said I was struggling." Tom's voice was calm but firm. "I said Amy's medical bills were expensive. Even with good insurance and a successful business, her treatments cost thousands every month. I save every penny I can for her future. So why do you clean offices yourself? Why not just manage the business?" Tom looked out over the city lights. "Because that's not the kind of boss I want to be. I started this company by cleaning offices alone while Amy slept in a portable crib in supply closets. Every employee I have knows I've done their job and respect their work." Emma felt a wave of shame wash over her. "I made assumptions about you." "We both made assumptions." Tom met her eyes. "You assumed I was just a poor janitor who needed charity. I assumed you were just another rich woman who would never see me as an equal." "But I paid you to be my date," Emma said, her voice breaking slightly. "I treated you like you were desperate enough to accept money for pretending to care about me." "I took the money," Tom replied quietly. "But not because I was desperate. I took it because I thought it would be the only way someone like you would ever spend time with someone like me." Emma stared at him. "Someone like me? Successful, educated, accomplished. Someone who built something amazing from nothing." Tom's voice held no judgment, only honesty. "I researched your company after you offered me this job. You're brilliant, Emma. Your software has changed how hospitals track patient care. You've saved lives. You researched me. I wanted to understand who I was pretending to date." Tom managed a small smile. "I was intimidated by your success." Emma laughed, a sound mixed with tears and disbelief. "You were intimidated by me? Tom, you built a multi-million-dollar business while raising a daughter alone. You personally know every employee who works for you. Daniel looks up to you like you're his hero." "It's just cleaning services," Tom said, but Emma could hear the pride he tried to hide. "Just cleaning services that employ dozens of people and keep this entire city running smoothly." Emma moved closer to him. "Tom, what you've built is incredible. And the fact that you still work alongside your employees instead of sitting in some corporate office shows what kind of person you are." They stood quietly for a moment, both processing the evening's revelations. Inside, the band was playing another slow song, and through the glass doors they could see Emma's sister Lisa dancing with her new husband. "I owe you an apology," Emma said finally. "You don't owe me anything." "Yes, I do. I treated you like charity work. I made you feel like you had to hide who you really are." Emma's voice grew stronger. "And I let my family make comments about you that I should have shut down immediately." Tom was quiet for a long moment. "Your family wasn't wrong, though. We are from different worlds." "Are we?" Emma challenged. "You're a successful business owner. You're educated, intelligent, and you've overcome more challenges than most people face in a lifetime. The only difference between us is that I inherited money to start my company, and you built yours from nothing. Your success doesn't depend on my wealth, Tom. It depends on your work, your character, and your dedication. Those things matter more than the size of someone's bank account." Tom looked at her with something like wonder in his eyes. "I've never heard anyone from your world say that before." "Then you haven't been talking to the right people." Emma's phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at it quickly, then frowned. "What is it?" Tom asked, noticing her expression. "It's Mrs. Rodriguez. Amy's having trouble breathing. She wants to know if you can come home early. Tom's face went pale immediately. Her inhaler should be in her backpack. Did she say if Amy used it? Emma was already calling Mrs. Rodriguez while Tom paced anxiously beside her. After a brief conversation, Emma hung up. She used the inhaler, but it's not helping much. Mrs. Rodriguez thinks Amy might need to go to the hospital. I have to leave right now. Tom was already pulling off his bow tie and heading toward the door. I'll drive you, Emma said without hesitation. You don't have to do that. This is your sister's wedding. Amy needs you, and you shouldn't drive when you're this worried. Emma was already gathering her purse and wrap. Besides, Lisa will understand. They hurried through the ballroom, Emma briefly explaining the situation to her parents and sister. Lisa hugged them both and insisted they leave immediately. Take care of that little girl, Lisa said to Tom. Family comes first. The drive to Tom's apartment building was tense and quiet. Tom directed Emma through the streets while calling Amy's doctor and checking on medication dosages. Emma focused on driving safely while fighting her own anxiety about a child she barely knew. Mrs. Rodriguez met them in the lobby with Amy, who was breathing heavily but alert. The little girl's face brightened when she saw Emma. Ms. Emma. You came to help too. Amy said between labored breaths. Of course I did, sweetheart. Emma knelt down to Amy's level. Your daddy was worried about you, so we came as fast as we could. At the hospital emergency room, Emma sat quietly while Tom handled the paperwork and medical discussions. She watched him advocate fiercely but calmly for his daughter, asking intelligent questions and making sure the doctors understood Amy's complete medical history. You can go home, Tom said to Emma while they waited for test results. This could take hours, and you're still in your formal dress. I'm not leaving, Emma replied firmly. Amy asked me to stay, and I'm staying. Tom looked at her with surprise and gratitude. Thank you. 3 hours later, Amy was stable and sleeping peacefully. The doctors had adjusted her medication and wanted to keep her overnight for observation. Tom sat beside her bed, holding her small hand while she slept. She's going to be fine, Emma said softly from the chair beside him. I always worry it could be the time when the medicines don't work, Tom admitted. Sarah used to say I worried too much, but after losing her, I can't help it. Emma watched Tom's face in the dim hospital light. You're an amazing father, Tom. Amy is lucky to have you. I hope she thinks so when she grows up. I hope she understands why I work so much, why I can't always be there for every school event. She'll understand because she'll see what you built for her. Not just the business, but the example you set. You've shown her that hard work and caring about people matter more than anything else. Tom looked at Emma with an expression she couldn't quite read. You've surprised me tonight. How? You chose to be here instead of at your sister's reception. You've spent hours in a hospital waiting room when you could have been celebrating. Most people in your position wouldn't have done that. Emma considered his words. Most people in my position don't know what it's like to have someone depend on them completely. Amy depends on you, and tonight you needed someone to depend on. That's what people do for each other. Is that what we're doing? Depending on each other? Emma felt her heart speed up slightly. I don't know. What are we doing, Tom? Before Tom could answer, Amy stirred in her sleep and opened her eyes. Daddy? Is Ms. Emma still here? I'm right here, Amy, Emma said, moving her chair closer to the bed. I'm glad you're both here, Amy said sleepily. It feels like family. Tom and Emma exchanged a look over Amy's head. The little girl had spoken the truth that neither adult had been ready to acknowledge. 2 weeks later, Emma sat in Tom's kitchen while Amy did homework at the table. Tom was making dinner, something simple but delicious that filled the small apartment with warm smells. Ms. Emma, will you check my math homework? Amy asked, pushing her worksheet across the table. Of course. Emma looked over the problems, impressed by Amy's neat handwriting and careful work. These all look perfect, Amy. Daddy says math is important for business. He's teaching me about his company. Emma looked up at Tom, who was stirring sauce at the stove. Really? Amy wants to understand what I do for work, Tom explained. I've been showing her how to calculate supply costs and schedule employees. That's wonderful. Most 8-year-olds don't get that kind of education. I want to have a business like Daddy when I grow up, Amy announced. But I want to help sick kids instead of clean buildings. That's a beautiful dream, Emma said. You could start a company that provides support services to children's hospitals. Amy's eyes lit up. Could I really do that? You can do anything you set your mind to, Emma assured her. Your daddy has already shown you how to work hard and care about people. Those are the most important business skills. Tom joined them at the table, setting down plates of pasta and salad. As they ate dinner together, Emma realized this felt more natural and comfortable than any of the expensive restaurants she usually frequented. Emma, Tom said as Amy cleared the dishes, I need to tell you something. What is it? I don't want this to be pretend anymore. Tom's voice was quiet but steady. What we have, this connection we've found, it's real. At least it is for me. Emma felt warmth spread through her chest. It's real for me too. Even though we come from different backgrounds. Especially because we come from different backgrounds. Emma reached across the table to take his hand. You've shown me what really matters. Success isn't about how much money you have or what neighborhood you live in. It's about the people you love and the difference you make in their lives. Amy bounced back into the kitchen. Are you going to keep coming to dinner, Miss Emma? Emma looked at Tom, then at Amy, and realized she had found something she never knew she was looking for. A real family built on love, respect, and genuine partnership. If you'll have me, Emma said, squeezing Tom's hand, I'd like to keep coming to dinner for a very long time. 6 months later, Emma and Tom announced their engagement at a small gathering in Tom's apartment. Amy was the flower girl, and the guest list included employees from Harrison Cleaning Services, colleagues from Emma's tech company, and both their families. Emma's cousin Jennifer attended the party and spent the evening asking Tom for business advice about her startup company. I can't believe I was so wrong about him, Jennifer confided to Emma later. He's brilliant. And you two are perfect together. Emma smiled, watching Tom help Amy with a science project while discussing quarterly reports with one of his managers. Sometimes the best things come in packages we don't expect. The wedding that had started as a charade had led them to something real, something lasting, and something worth far more than all their individual successes combined. In the end, Emma learned that true love wasn't about finding someone who fit into her world, but about finding someone worth building a new world with together.